All right, guys, we're gonna wrap up the third part about collective trauma. So, why should different examples of collective trauma just matter to us psychologically or emotionally? Well, think about it. One way, one reason why it's important is because it affects how safe people feel. Because they witness other people's lives being ruined or destroyed or affected significantly for better or for worse. And so they're going to reflect on that. And of course, something that's closely related to safety is at least safety in feelings, safety in emotions, trust in society, right? Trust in institutions in particular. So, people might tell themselves that I feel like my government neglected me. I feel, you know, um, the authorities and people we put to power, they've betrayed me. They share these kind of thoughts in their head. And community relationships are also something that's affected when it comes to collective trauma. These change. So you could see, people in certain neighborhoods or people of different cultures and heritages in those neighborhoods, they lose trust among their neighbors because they just start to identify with people who either share the same language or share the same ethnicity, culture, religion, politics, whatever it may be, class. And, not surprisingly, political attitudes are affected. So maybe you were a person who identified with the left, you consider yourself to be a liberal, a Democrat, something of that nature, but something happened, you experienced some kind of collective trauma that pushed you toward the right. Now you're conservative, maybe you're Republican, or maybe you've decided to just stay away from politics altogether. You became apolitical, but then years later you changed your mind and became independent. Who knows? Mental health trends, they start to grow over time. So, trauma is just depressing by nature. So, a lot of people are going to experience depression over time, anxiety related issues. They might think or consider self harm, and they may even be affected to the point where it's normal, it's natural at that point. It's just a side effect. It's just a consequence of this. They alter their appearances. So this could be cosmetically. They have like cosmetic or plastic surgery. They may get tattoos, piercings, even. It's not out of the ordinary here. They may undergo personality disorders. They may be affected by neurodivergence because neurodivergence isn't just genetic. Stress can also contribute to it, environmental factors. And some people may even question their gender, right? None of this is surprising. And the last reason why collective trauma matters so much to us, at least in terms of our mental health, our emotions, our feelings, is that generations can also remember a period of history. So there's this kind of historical aspect to all this as well, because it just affects the way people interpret events, right? Think about just inheriting the experiences of your grandparents from World War II or something, right? It has this kind of effect where information, values, beliefs are passed down generation to generation. So it's not just intergenerational. So keep that in mind. And one reason the last decade, I think last 10 years, has been like really emotionally intense for so many people is that just, think about just several, Not one, not just one or two, but several large-scale, grand, collective traumas that we talked about last time, right? Those examples. They just overlap each other in different domains, in different areas, right? I think about the pandemic stress, political polarization, economic uncertainty, climate disasters, and also things like nonstop exposure to social media, to screens, and 24-hour news. All these different things, they just converge and they overlap and they just intersect one another, which just makes it so difficult, so complex, so overbearing, overwhelming for us to really organize all this information to create just simple understanding out of all of it. It's just too much information that's being thrown at us, and almost all of it is like controversial. We didn't even talk about like climate change or environmental disasters, but they also count because they also inflict trauma on people, right? So when you just try to process all of this all together, your biological CPU, your brain, doesn't know what to do with it, and you're just gonna be traumatized by it eventually. You're just your head explodes in a sense. I'm over exaggerating to some extent, but you get the picture. It just traumatizes you, and that's the whole point of why I decided to have this 3-part series. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.